This time on Kustom Works, finally, we're going to put a roof on the Meat Wagon. On the Meat Wagon, it's like a big half sausage all the way along. And this is how I'm going to make it. So I'm going to have two arches, front and back. One slightly wider than the other because the van like tapers. I'll make those. I'll make the base plate around, and then in fibreglass I'll form the two double compound curve front and back, which is like the front of a Zeppelin or something. But first off, I've got to make this first arch. So this is the width of the part of the van where I'm going to have it, and it will arch. It will arch because it's an arch, you know. And what I'm going to do is mark that out. So I'm going to use this piece of diamond to create my curve. I use some screws to sort of set that too, and then running down the centre of the roof is going to be this. So it'll arch up. You know what? I could draw this. So it will arch up, and then there'll be a raised piece in the centre that will go down the other side. In this piece I'll be able to put some little like portholes in there, and they will run all the way from so the back of the van's like that. It'll go and it'll go all the way. You know, if I'd have drawn this over here, I'd have room to finish that. But you can see how it's going to go. So the roof will go like that, and it will have fading in from the front to the back like this. That will have portholes down it, and then there will be the flat bit, and this is where the curve will be. Really, that I drew that drawing then, and it made no more sense to me than ever. It was a very poor explanation. But anyway, let's make it. So I'll make it, then it will all become apparent, as most things on here usually do. To get this a more pleasing curve, what I've done here, I've marked the middle, bent it around there, marked two 45-degree angles, and marked 21 inch up there, and then I'll mark 21 inch there as well, and then I'll put a screw in there, and that should give me an equal curve, but most importantly a curve with quite a flat top, so it's steeper on the sides and then flatter across the top, just to give the maximum amount of usable headroom. So we've made that arc by bending that. We know it's a very uniform material. This will probably be quite a, you know, mathematically equal arc. But now I need to make this raised section. So what I'm going to use my compasses or divider, whatever it's called. Mark off there, and this is going to be 5 inches higher than the rest of it, and that wide. But I want the top of that to have that slight sort of curve to it over the top of the roof, because this is eventually going to come right down the back of the van, and I don't want it just to be like a curved box that drops around, to, you know, have a bit of sort of something about it. I made that mark. I made the mark with this sort of scribe on here, and then I went over it with a pen, and the pen just made it look like the wobbliest line in the world, but I'm sure it'll be okay, and I can only see this getting more inaccurate as I actually try to cut it out with jigsaw. That is the profile shape of the roof. Certainly at the back, that's going to be what it's like. So what I'll do now, I'll cut this out with a jigsaw, and then I'm going to cut this out many times and laminate it together until it's sort of like 100mm, sort of 4-inch thick, and then that will be a great support for the back. And once I've made the front one, then all I need to do is slat across and then fold some aluminium around that, and we've got a roof. So, like some kind of crazy fool, I started cladding the thing before I'd actually shown you what the framework of the roof looked like. But I can make all of that good now with my drawing skills. Oh guys, this has been awful. Right then, so how it looked, if you imagine this is like the roof of the van. So if we have windscreen there. Oh dear, this is going as good as I thought it would. Essentially what I did, I made 2 arches, and then between those 2 arches I put some 50mm strips of plywood, and then I formed the alley over those. Okay, so we've got the roof into the workshop. We've got this sort of spindly timber frame, but it is all sort of down on the foundation of this fibreglass ring that pops directly on top of the Meat Wagon. And what I'm doing here is I'm just skinning the outside on this centre section in very thin aluminium. Now this really is super thin aluminium, and what I'm doing is doing a loose skin around it. And by loose skin, what I mean is that I'm just pulling this over. It's not necessarily hitting every batten, I don't care. Just as long as each panel has got a nice smooth curve to it, that's all I'm bothered about. And like these bits as well. These bits will be just lightly glued onto there. Not going to screw them, not going to go crazy and make indents. All of these screws that I've put in as well, these will all be being removed once it's been fibreglass from the back. And it's that fibreglassing from the back that is going to bring that real rigidity to this, but also provide me with a smooth surface to work with. Rather than building it up in fibreglass first, I'll build it up in alley, fibreglass it, that holds it to the framework. I've got a smooth outer, but I've got that strength underneath. And what I've done, I've fibreglassed the back of all of this, but now it is really hard because it's all fibreglass on the back. It's made this very stiff. What I'm doing now is stacking up junk. Here's some old junk stacked up, old wheel, some old boxes, an old filleting. I'm going to cover all of this in expanding foam, and then tomorrow I'll sculpt the expanding foam into the 2 compound curves at either end of this, the front and the rear, obviously. And then tomorrow we'll sculpt them in, hopefully. And yeah, in the time between now and then, I'm going to sleep, probably for all of it, because it's been very tiring. It's very hot, and this has been very difficult. Once all this is done, obviously all the expanding foam, all this junk will all be gone. I'll probably use plaster to really dial in these shapes as well, so all of that will get scooped out and thrown away, so everything remains light, super thin and strong. We've left it all night, and now all we've got is just this mass of polystyrene and expanding PU foam. And today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to sculpt all of this into the front and back of this. You know, all those compound curves, all those complicated bits. I'm going to make all nice and smooth. And what I'm going to do, tip first with a saw and this little surf arm. Get it about there, then cover it in plaster and get it to the perfect shape for the roof of the Meat Wagon. front of the Meat Wagon's roof then. This is looking pretty good, you know. I've been over it with some plaster. I've sort of sculpted it up. I've been using this, which is, which I only sort of discovered today, part of a saw blade there. Get a good bend on it for sort of soft radiuses and stuff. But it really takes it back. And of course, like when you use a long block, makes it nice and flat. And of course, we're going to go over this with fibreglass, so that takes a lot of the undulation out of it. And now that's done, we're looking at the back. So then looking at the back at the minute, it just looks like a right old mess. But once we've got some plaster on there, start shaping that up, we'll have this looking as good as the front in no time. It really is a very easy way to make a lot of compound curves. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to first cover it in contact adhesive because this has still got like a bit of moisture to it, and then I'll cover it all in this silver tape. Silver tape is just going to act as like a release agent between this plaster and the fibreglass that's over it. So once we've glassed it, all this here, we can smash all this out and just leave the fibreglass there. Just here between where it's going to be plaster going into the aluminium, I've roughed up the edge of this aluminium because I actually want the fibreglass to stick to this, but not to this. So that's rough, and then I'll glass to that over this, and also it will stick down here to the rim that we've made for the roof, and that will hold that all nice and strong. Okay then, so what is all of this? It's all the junk that I put under the roof to make that shape. So what I'm going to do is just hack and dig at all of this crap until it all falls out, and then we should have a nice and hopefully a lot lighter roof. Okay then, so here we go, day 2 of hacking out. I say day 2, I did it for about half an hour last night, couldn't be bothered anymore and went in. But anyway, I'm calling this day 2 of hacking out. Okay, so now all of that plaster and all of that rubbish has been ripped out from underneath. All we've got now is the thin fibreglass shell, and that is a lot lighter, but still very strong. Okay, so the roof is now on the ramp and ready to be trial fitted on the car. The only thing is though, we've got to clear all this up. This is all the stuff that was in there. So once we've cleared this up, we'll get the truck out, put it under that roof, and we can try the two together for the first time. Okay then, so what I did there, I lifted the roof with the ramp onto the Meat Wagon, and good lord, it looked awful, like really, really bad. I make a lot of this stuff just like on the fly, bang it together, and it usually comes out okay. This really didn't. This was epically bad. It looked like some sort of, it looked like a Mediterranean pizza oven sitting on the roof, upside down, and none of that in any way in a good way. Just really bad. So what I've had to do is re-sculpt this whole front. So again, I've done it in the bonding coat and cement way of, you know, sort of sculpting it. And I've made the front wider, changed the front of the whole roof, made this a lot more sort of bull-nosed, and also put the slope and shape into this top section as well, which was, oh God, it looked bad. So what I'll be doing is, once again, getting all the plaster out of here, bonding this all back together, then we'll try it on the roof again, and hopefully what I'm going to go for this time is like a glass panel in the front of the roof, just like you would have got on a really old bus, and then it can have the name of the company across the front, and hopefully it will look a bit better than, let's face it, I'm going to say it, it was an absolute abomination. Okay, so that's it for this week. Join us next time when we will be putting the roof on the Meat Wagon, see what that looks like for it's not really its first fit, is it? Because no one's going to see that. But the first fit where anyone else other than me is going to see it. And also, we'll be taking the standard enzyme, the non-standard, out for a bit of a cruise and see just how good that new engine's performing. Till then, don't forget to click subscribe, do the bell icon thing, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. All of that admin is down to you. And thank you very much, and good night. I'm off for a drive.